Marissa, so what we're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to bring up the can Marissa share the screen?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll start
Okay.
now.
All right, great. So can you bring up the application? So good morning, everybody. I'm Joe Wax. I am the coordinator for the local arts program, and it's really a pleasure to have you. I see a lot of like new faces, folks I don't know, which is terrific, and I'm so happy that you all took the time to do this morning, and I sincerely apologize for my tardiness. I had some I cannot my something's going on with my computer and I cannot get sound. Um so that is the deal. So I think the best thing to do is to go through the application and uh and then we can kind of assume, or I don't assume that you all read the guidelines already because it just was released on Monday, but what we can do is go through the application. We can kind of jump off at certain points and talk about the guidelines. And then if you have any questions, you can pipe in. I guess the best thing I don't really mind if you interrupt. If you have a question that's germane to what I'm talking about, that's fine. If you want to save it to the end, that's fine too. But that is pretty much it. So here we got the application. If you receive if you're on this Zoom, that means that that you know how to get to the application. So there's a couple different ways through our Hudson County Cultural Affairs website is the easiest way. And so then so you go to the page and you see local arts program. You scroll down and it says apply here. And you can see on the right hand side it says guidelines. So I do highly recommend reading the guidelines. They do contain hints on how to answer the most substantive questions in the application. But what I really want to stress, and Gina said, I know she should assume that that you don't know anything about that the peer reviewers know nothing about your organization. I agree. But what I do ask you to do is read the questions really carefully and just answer the question that's being asked. Like you don't need to go into you don't need to fill space. You don't feel obliged to, if it's 3,000 characters, don't feel obliged that you have to use every character. Just answer the questions as thoroughly as you can, but as directly as you can. And when we go to the first question, substantive question, I'll amplify that. Okay, so let's go apply. So the first thing you do is you see eligibility questions, and the questions are, what do you need to describe which you are? So there's three types of entities that can apply for this grant. A nonprofit in Hudson County, and that's an arts nonprofit or any other kind of nonprofit that offers arts programming to the residents of Hudson County. A governmental entity like a municipality, and then the third one is outside of Hudson County, which you do not qualify for. So which does not qualify for LAP. So if you were to check that box, something would come up and say, sorry, Charlie, you're not eligible to apply. So why don't we say we're a nonprofit?
It would actually lock your application, so you could no longer go forward.
Oh, there you go. Thanks, Marissa. Yeah, Marissa, just feel free to, when I say something incorrectly, which will probably be more than once, feel free to pipe in. Marissa, this is Marissa Barron. She largely built this application, and she's terrific. And she's great. I'm glad she's on this call. So
Thank you.
So let's say we're a nonprofit entity in Hudson County. So there you go. And we're actually covering things that are in the guidelines right now when we're doing this. So don't despair. So has your organization been in existence for at least one full year as of January 1, 2024? So that has to be, your organization has to have been in existence for 1 full year as of January of this year. So you choose yes, excellent. Then you move on to the next one. Is your organization incorporated as a nonprofit entity in the state of New Jersey? That needs to be the case. If you're not, then you cannot apply for this grant. So, and then you going down. So yeah, so you want to go to the next. So that, yep. So then after you verify those two things, Marissa, am I right? I'll take you to this page, take you to this EIN page.
So none of the tasks, these are called tasks right here, like eligibility questions is a task, verify charity status a task, organize profile a task. So the task, if you mark as complete, it will not automatically take you to the next page. You're gonna have to click on the next task yourself or the one after.
Right. Okay,
So,
good to know.
but another point I would like to make is please make sure you try not to do save and continue, try to mark as complete if it's complete, because a lot of tasks require it to be complete in order for the rest of the application to appear.
Yep. So
So like, for example, if I didn't mark eligibility questions as mark as complete, organization profile would still be hidden, and you need organization profile to move forward.
so at the bottom, it says when you answer those questions, it says mark as complete, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. And then you go to the left and you go to
Verify.
verify, and just yeah, yeah. So then you put in your your EIN number. That's your tax ID number now. So organizations that are eligible, nonprofits that are eligible to apply for this grant are 501c3s, which we know are nonprofits. C4s are social welfare organizations, and then C6s are things like special improvement districts. For the purposes of this question, it only accepts C3s. If you what I direct people to do, if you are like we have Hudson, a historic downtown special improvement district, I just tell them to get to use any EIN number, like just use your own, or like you can, if you typed in like Make-A-Wish Foundation and EIN on the internet, you would find it. You could just plug that in and that will satisfy. Marissa, what do they put in if it's a municipality?
I'm not sure, but like this is optional because they have to attach it in organization profile anyway.
Right.
So if they don't have a number to
Oh, they
put
do. Well,
here,
every municipalities do have EIN, so I don't know what I'm talking about actually. So yeah. So yeah, municipalities and nonprofits. The real proof in the pudding is when you attach it. This is just like
yeah.
a preliminary question. So let's go to the net. Let's assume we put it in. It'll verify it. So the next is the organizational profile questions, and this is important because it dictates what kind of grant you can apply for. So we have arts nonprofits and that offer arts programming to our residents, and then we have organizations that like are social service organizations like Hudson Milestones, for instance, that serves developmentally disabled individuals. They offer arts programming. So that is an example of a non-arts organization that is applying for the grant. So it's asking you for what type of organization are you? So so if you're a arts organization, it's going to bring you to it's going to branch you out to a certain bunch of questions, as opposed to if you're a non-arts organization. And the reason that is because there's three types of grants that are part of LAP. There's general operating support, there's program support, and there's technical assistance. And most grantees, especially new ones, will be applying for program support. Only arts organizations can apply for general operating support, and there's a caveat with that. So if you're a non-arts organization, the only grant you can apply for is a program support grant. And so you would check your Hudson County-based arts organization. It's going to take you, it's going to branch you out to questions that deal with program support. If you are a arts organization, if you're a new if you are new to this grant and you're an arts organization, you can only apply for program support, and you can read about all this in the guidelines. If you are a returning grantee who's been with us for several years, and you would wish to apply for general operating support, then you need to contact us, call me, text me, or email me, whatever, and then we could set up a time to talk and talk about you becoming a GOS applicant. And the reason, the difference in the difference in the types of grants are, there's a couple of differences. The biggest one is could you, Marissa, I don't know whose that is. Anyway, so the biggest the difference is, so general operating support, the maximum you can request is $17,000. The maximum you can request for program support is $14,000. And then technical assistance, which we'll get to, is totally different. It's only for arts organizations, and the max you can ask for is $5,000. So general operating support, just to explain the little difference between what the difference between general operating support and program support is that general operating support is for the general operations of your organization, not for a specific program. Program support is exactly what it sounds like. It's to support a distinct or discrete program that you want to do. And so in this application, since most of you are going to be applying for program support, you're going to be asked to describe the project for which you're asking for funds. So that pretty much sums it up. Like I said, please read the guidelines, but that sums it up. So we'll say we're a Hudson County based arts organization, because you could apply for, with that you can apply for all the types of grants. So you put your name in of your organization, your name, your first name, your last name, your phone number, your address, blah blah blah. Now we ask you if your mailing address is different than your legal address, because sometimes organizations like to have a check mailed to one place, but their legal address is another place. So we ask you that, so that when we get to the point where you're going to receive funds from the county, that helps us get the funds to you in the right to the right place. So then so if you click yes on that, it would ask you to put your mailing address. Yes. So there you go. So your website, the leader of your organization, and then it asks you for a bunch of documents which are mandatory. So you just attach them to the where it says you to attach. So please attach your organization's mission statement. All nonprofits should have a mission statement. If you don't, you're probably not going to want to apply for this grant. Excuse me, I was just taking like a sip of coffee. So what do we got after that? We got just scroll up for a second, Marissa, please. Yeah, so we got so organization mission statement, list of organization's board of trustees, your organization's 501c, C4, or C6, a nonprofit designation letter. And this is very important. You have to have this. You need to be a federally recognized 501c, C3, C4, or C6 nonprofit to apply for this grant. So it's different than your New Jersey certificate of incorporation, which just incorporates you in New Jersey and allows you to do business. You need to be a 501 nonprofit for IRS purposes in order to apply for this grant. So you would attach your letter, and you're attaching that certificate of incorporation we talked about earlier, and then your W-9, which is the document that lets us pay you. All these documents we share with our finance department, so they want to make sure that everybody is complying. They're it's very stringent. And then we have this very special Russia, Belarus, and Iran investment form, which sounds ridiculous, and it kind of is, but it's a checkbox document. It just verifies that you're not doing business with Russia, Belarus, or Iran. I assume that none of our nonprofits or municipalities are doing business with Iran, Belarus, or Russia. So you should be good there. So then the question is, describe the focus of your organization. Provide brief history of your organization, including your establishment, incorporation, and key milestones. Just answer the question. It's basically, what does your organization do? What does it focus on? Like, when was it established? If there's any like key history things, something changed, or you had a big milestone. Just that's where you would describe it. Pretty simple. Say, are you a membership organization? Blah blah blah. How many participants? How many members? All that kind of anything that you think that the peer review panel would be helpful for them to know about your organization. And yeah.
Joe, sorry,
So
just to jump in
yeah.
really quick. We had a question from Sean regarding if we do music education and after school programming, would they be considered an arts organization? So I just want to answer that briefly. So for the program support, the applicants can be arts only and non-arts organizations. So since you're reaching a broader range of community activities and music education, that would be acceptable to apply. But you just have to meet the criteria for the which are on the guidelines with the organization piece of it.
Yeah. So what distinguishes you between an arts organization and a non-arts organization is, like, if your mission is art, it's like literature or visual arts or dance or poetry or ceramics, what have you, that is an arts organization. If you're using art to further like a social mission, or that is you're using art, but that would be considered a non-arts organization. So sounds like, Gina, can you just describe that organization again?
What do you mean, the question? Or
what was the question?
Oh, so if they can apply, basically, if they do music education and after school programming, would they be considered an arts organization?
So I mean, if the focus, if they do it, if that's the focus of your organization, then you're an arts organization. If you are, if it's like part of like an after school program that's focuses on homework and has a musical element, then I would say you're not. And it doesn't really matter for the purposes of, it sounds like this is an organization that probably hasn't applied for before, so you would be applying for program support regardless. So that would be what you would be applying for. So we can move on from there. Yeah, no problem. Sorry about that. So yeah, so let's say we're an arts organization, and we're going to apply. So let's say we're going to apply for program support. So that's going to branch you to program support questions. So we're an arts organization. This stuff is all populated. And so the maximum you can ask for is $14,000. Second. Let's see one thing. Yep. So you ask how you put in there how much you're asking for. We'll get to this later, but I just want to stress to you, this is important. you don't have to you don't have to ask for the maximum amount. I mean, you're welcome to, but what we ask, I mean, let me just say, the amount the amount of funds that that organizations ask for compared to what we have to give out it's always way more of the ask than what we have to give out, if that makes sense. And so we have to, so oftentimes, we have to give what we call a haircut. You're not going to get as much as you optimally would get. And so my point is, I always ask for truth in budgeting. If your project magically adds up to $14,000 and you really can enumerate how it does, that's fine. But what I would ask is that, you really think hard and fast, hard and long about how much you're asking for. You should not just automatically ask for the maximum amount. You should ask for the amount that you need for your program. And as you know, it's a match. This is a matching grant. So if you're applying for program support, it's a 1-to-1 match. And the match can be in-kind contributions and any combination of in-kind and cash. So we know what cash is. That's money. In-kind is anything that's donated to you that you would otherwise be paying. Paying for. So say like you're printing programs and someone gives you paper. That's an in-kind contribution. Any professional services, lawyers, accountants, et cetera, they're donating their time and their expertise. That is considered a in-kind contribution. So for GOS, that has to be, it's a 1-to-1, but it has to be how much in cash? I think it has to be at least 50%. No, 25% must be in cash. So for GOS, so it's a 1-to-1 match for program support, which most of you are going to be applying for. It's any combination of cash and in-kind contributions. Okay, so let's move on to purpose. Now this question seems to confound people, but it really is just, what's the purpose of your request? Like, why are you asking for the money? It's a pretty simple question. It underneath the subtext under explains, has the other things, what program, project, or initiatives will the program support grant help fund. It include dates, locations, any of the pertinent information about the grant. Explain what benefit will be to either the general public and or underserved audiences, or how it promotes the growth of artists, arts organizations, or arts programming in Hudson County. So pretty simple question. 3,000 characters is a lot of characters. Don't feel obliged to use them all, but you can. And so you are just stating what the purpose of your request is. And then the narrative is that, now this is like the main portion of your application. And in the guidelines, there are specific directions on what you should be covering in your narrative. So on page 10 of the guidelines, it says the title is the application. First, it goes to the GOS narrative parameters, and then on page 11, it talks about the program support narrative parameters. I'll just tick through them really quickly. Explain in detail your organization's programming for which you're seeking funding. Indicate how artists with special needs are considered for inclusion in this programming. State what measurable tools are employed to evaluate the artistic excellence and audience participation in this programming. Illustrate how your organization's programming addresses priorities for funding, which are described in the LAP guidelines, and that's in the beginning of the guideline. You'll see the priorities for funding. Tell how the organization measures greater diversity in its audience, how it develops programming to respond to that diversity. Detail your artists, performers, instructors from Hudson County that will be participating in your program or project. Oh, there, you just put it in there. I'm not even looking at it. Sorry. So yeah, so that's all the things you need to hit in that narrative. It's 7,000. That's like 2 pages. That's a little more than 2 pages, single spaced. Um, so like Gina said, assume that the peer review panel doesn't know anything about your organization. At the same time, just answer the question. So after the narrative, then you have fundraising and earned income development. It is, please describe in detail your organization's fundraising strategies, including campaigns undertaken, the role of board of directors, development director, and any professional consultants. And then, there's got the subtext, describe fundraising goals, they were met, give the status of all current grants, explain your organization's earned income goals and strategies. So that's important. So uh, for some organizations, the smaller, if you're a smaller organization, the LAP grant might be a very substantial portion of your income, and we understand that. For other organizations, like I like to say, we're the cherry on top. For larger organizations, we have some large organizations like Mile Square Theater, which is a terrific organization in Hoboken. They're a very large organization. Question: does the peer review panel change each year? Yes, it does. It changes each year. So it's important to describe that. That's why fundraising is important to talk about. It's nothing like it's not a right or wrong answer or something to be proud of or not proud of. It is what it is, but you need to discuss it. After that is the outreach question. The names and groups. Please describe the community outreach plan for your organization's target audience. Names and organizations you've reached out to in the relationship to the target audience. Explain your organization's means of outreach. How do you have social media, you send out smoke signals, you drive around with a giant speaker on your car, top of your car, whatever. And detail how special needs residents, community groups are engaged for greater participation in your programs. And I think you can see a pattern here. It's, we're definitely, inclusion is a really important, it's really important part of LAP. You guys all do excellent, wonderful programming. Can't, really thank you enough for what you do. But the point of all of this is to allow as many people to see, to experience and enjoy your what you do as possible, and that means making it as accessible as possible to all people, regardless of you know do they have a disability, what have you. So it's really important. You could see, we won't cover it in today's webinar, but tomorrow when John McKeown does his does the ADA webinar, which I highly recommend you either attend or watch. It's going to be recorded. That you do it, because it's really important. It's 20. The ADA score is 20% of your total score, so that really shows how important it is to us. So anyway, that's outreach. Marketing. Please explain detail your organization's marketing plan. How was it developed? How was it devised? What are the goals? Have you developed a brand for your organization? How do you measure success? Blah blah blah. And then you have the subtext: discuss how advertising supports and marketing your brand. Explain special promotions. Discussing the marketing campaign targeted specific to residents with special needs. Again, so these questions are pretty straightforward. I mean, there's no trick questions here. It's just pretty much asking what you do. So yeah, just answer them to the best of your ability. Then after marketing, we have,
Do you want to go to accessibility next or the budget?
No, let's go to the budget. So we're going to
Okay.
skip over the accessibility because we're going to go over that tomorrow. But let me, 1 second here. I'm just going to go into. So now we're in the budget section. So this is important. This is important. This lays out, this is where you enumerate what you're asking for. So there's two parts of the budget, the budget portion of the application. There's the budget narrative, and there's the budget, the actual budget chart. So they're kind of like, some people like to do the budget narrative first. Some people like to do the budget spreadsheet first. It's just a matter of preference. But what the budget is laying out, and we'll go through the line. You can see the line items. It's asking you what you're, you can scroll down a little, Marissa. So it's like, yeah, personnel expenses. So that's for people. So, and then this all populates. It's nice. It adds up itself. You don't have to do any math here. Really great. So you can see then administrative materials and supplies. And then facilities. So that's, this is, you can see all the little different items.
Also, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, please do.
Please like make sure only enter numbers in the spaces, no special characters, comments, or letters, otherwise it won't add up properly. So just ignore like the decimals and just, type in your number. No need for like dollar signs or anything like that. Sorry.
Yep.
Keep going.
No sorries necessary. So yeah, so you fill out all these areas. So now you see in some there's others. And I wish, and this is something we ask the vendor every year, can you make it so you can tell what the other is in the spreadsheet? And unfortunately, you can't do it. So that's kind of where the budget narrative comes in. So if the budget is the skeleton, your budget spreadsheet, if that's a skeleton, then I like to say that that your budget narrative is your meat on the bones. So what we're asking for with the budget narrative is not just to regurgitate all your numbers in a narrative form. It's to explain. It gives you an opportunity to explain, are there others? Are there things that would be better that the numbers don't really describe? That's where your budget, scroll up to the budget narrative, Marissa. So yeah, in paragraph, a summary of your income and expenses, your proposed project. Note that donated or in-kind service should be included in your budget. It'll be also note that it'll be required to detail your line items later in this application. It's advisable to keep your budget on hand when filling out this portion, and be advised you have to do with both the narrative and the budget narrative, as well as the budget summary or spreadsheet. So yeah, so I mean, it just gives you an opportunity to just kind of tell about, we're using the money for this, and describe, you can describe what it is that's going towards. If it's something like exemplary, you want to you think, oh, they might think that this expense is really high for X, and so for someone you're bringing in someone to do this program, And on personnel expenses, it says like something that you think the peer review panel might be like, oh, that seems like really ridiculous. Then you would want to explain that in the budget narrative. So it just gives you an opportunity to kind of justify your numbers, to explain them. Yeah, it just kind of amplifies on what the numbers are. Yeah. So yeah, so then we're down to artistic expenses. Obviously, that's going to be, it's going to be a lot of what your expenses are. And then program and site accessibility expenses, that that is dealing with ADA. Yeah, so if you have interpreter expenses, special printing, blah blah blah, you would go in there. And John will talk a lot about this tomorrow. I'll just, I just, if this is the first time you're sitting through this, like, you don't have to print Braille. You don't have to print Braille programs for your, for everything you do. Like, basically what John is going to tell you is that it's by request. You can make it by request. So he'll cover that thoroughly tomorrow. So, okay. So you got your expenses, and on the other side of the sheet, you got your income, your earned income. So you're going through like what you expect your admissions to be, if you have subscriptions, sponsorships, fundraising, special events, other grants besides this LAP grant, you would put that in there. Projected in so then there's different kinds of in-kind income. So I talked a little bit about, like, if someone is like going to conduct your orchestra and they're going to do it for free, which would be really sweet, that's an in-kind expense. So you would put that into there, and that's something you probably would want to describe in your budget narrative. Things like that. And then in-kind materials, like I said, if someone donates, 1,000 reams of paper so you can print your programs, or someone's printing your programs for free, then that's an in-kind contribution. There we go. So I was saying, I'll just say it for the purposes of recording. If you have any questions, my email address and phone number is on the guidelines. And like I said, if you ever received an email from me, you have my cell phone number. You feel free to get me on the cell. Sometimes it's the easiest way to do it. Just don't call me at 3 a.m. or call me like 50 times. Try to save it for one call. Sometimes emails are the best because you can be the most descriptive, and sometimes you can send me an email and say, just give me a call. So, but feel free, like I said, if you have questions, to reach out. So if you have questions about like the substance of the application, that's a me question. So like, I don't understand this question. Can you help me? Can you elucidate for me? That's me. If you have like technical problems, we encourage you, and in this application, there's ways to get in touch with SurveyMonkey, who's our vendor. It's by email. They're very responsive. And we have Marissa on here, and I'm not going to sell her out. Like, if there's something like that, like it's just not, I don't know, this is not saving right or something, you can reach out to her. I don't want her to be deluged with questions about stuff, but if you're like desperate, she can help you with, she built this thing, she knows how it works. But like I said, most technical questions could be answered by SurveyMonkey. And this thing's pretty, this thing it's pretty tried and true. I think this is the second or third year, I can't even remember, if they were using this vendor, and we're very happy with it. So let's continue. So we got in-kind facilities. So like I said, let's say a lot of, as we know in Hudson County, there's not enough quality places to present your programming. Let's say you are going to do it at you're going to use a black box theater that's not your own, and they're either doing it for free, which would be really sweet, or they're doing it for half price, whatever the amount that it's if it's $600 and they're only charging you $300 would be an in-kind contribution. So you see all those things, all those line items there. In-kind marketing facility. Someone, like, if they're doing these things for free, if somebody's like designing your program for free, printing it for free, blah, 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 that is in kind. And then you have the artistic in kind, which is, personnel, it describes it there, sets, costumes, royalties. Royalties are, what you would have to pay, like if you're doing a play, you'd have to pay, you have to pay royalties to use the script. If someone's letting you do that for free, then that's an in-kind contribution. And then you have program or site accessibility in kind, which is like if someone is, someone's doing if you're going to have a sign language interpreter for your program, and they're charging you a cut rate or no rate, that's an in-kind contribution. So you put that stuff in there. And just to go back to the budget narrative. So if there's we try to make this, I mean, we've done this, we try to perfect it, nothing's perfect, we're human. But if there's items in here that like there's an other, but there's no other space, that is where you would put it into the budget narrative. So like anything that's like different or that you think needs explaining, that's your budget narrative is the opportunity to do that. And I encourage you to take advantage of it. I don't encourage you to just regurgitate the numbers back to us, because that's kind of like, why bother? And then you got your budget narrative. So Marissa, how does this all add up?
On the next page.
Can't hear you.
On the next page, it does all the calculations. So it shows you your grant request, the earned total income plus total in-kind income. Then, yeah. And then I guess you would just double check if this is correct before marketing is complete.
Fine.
And then you can scroll down.
Okay.
Scroll down.
So that's it for budget. Where did you?
Yep.
So do you want to go to?
So, yep. So that's the budget. Like I said, just be as accurate as you can. I'm not discouraging, if you ask for $14,000 and you can justify $14,000, by all means ask for it. But we just ask that you be judicious. Like I said, we never have enough money to give out. We get just for your information, how this grant is funded, it's funded through the New Jersey State Council on the Arts, which gives us money. And let me just thank Governor Murphy and the state legislature. They've really upped the amount of funds we get over the past few years. And then uniquely, our county executive and our board of commissioners also gives us funds for this grant. And I don't think that I'm not aware of any other counties. There's 21 counties in New Jersey, and I'm not aware of any other counties that do that. So we do have like a nice pot of money to distribute. But it's never enough. It just is never enough. So next time you see one of your commissioners, the county executive, you can thank him as well and thank them as well. Art is really important to them, and it's really important to us, and I know it's important to you. So then after the budget,
So we can either do
you,
accessibility or attach up to
yeah, so
5.
just click on that. We'll just show it to him and
Okay.
we'll, so then we get this is something that John McKeon's gonna go over tomorrow. He's mostly gonna go over the ADA plan, but why don't you just scroll down a little bit? So this is your organizational plan is the thing that John's gonna go over tomorrow. And then there's a number of questions. Describe your organization's accessibility plan, how it's developed, facilities. How can you ensure that the facility or facilities you use are ADA accessible? Digital accessibility is really important. They do the peer review panel does look at your website. John will talk about it tomorrow, but there's a lot of really comments and things you could do on your website that don't cost a lot of money that can help people. And he'll talk about that tomorrow. ADA policy, sensitivity training. These are, these aren't penalizing questions. We want to know if these are things that you have. So yeah, and just stop there right there. So let me just go to assistive listening devices. And I'm just blowing through this because John is really going to cover this tomorrow. He's an expert. He's an expert on accessibility. And if you do have questions about accessibility when you're doing it, you can reach out to me. But I do really encourage you to either attend tomorrow or to watch it. But assistive listening devices they look like, if you're old like me, you know what a Walkman is. They look like a Walkman, like a stereo, like a cassette player that has headphones. And what it is there's a transmitter that amplifies the sound and then plays to your headset. And the reason I'm telling you about this is because our office we have a pretty brand new setup of I believe we have like 12 assistive listening devices. So if you do if you can honestly say that you can offer, if you do offer assistive listening devices with notice, like what you would do is if you don't have your own set, you would call us ahead of time and reserve it, and then we make arrangements for you to get it to you. So that just want to jump off there for a second. You can just go down. So this is just asking you, these are not like penalizing questions. Like I said, these are just, we kind of want to know like where you are, and what you're doing. And some of the things aren't applicable to everything, but you'll be surprised. Some of the things are applicable. Um, you know, um, uh, some things that you would say are not necessarily applicable are. So think about it. And you can ask John about that as well. You can just scroll down. Braille, large print. Yeah, large print is like that's a pretty easy one. And you don't have to, John will tell you, you don't have to print like 1,000 large, you don't have to print 1,000 large format programs. You can have a few on hand. You can make it by request. But these things, these are what's good about these questions is that if these are food for thought, like these might be things that you've never even thought about before, but these are like the things you should be thinking about when it comes to accessibility. So then you would let me see this question. If we receive listening devices, would you be the cost that you should put in the submission? I guess you could make it an in-kind if you know that you're going to be using them, and you're going to be borrowing from this. I don't know what you'd have to do some research on what the cost would be, but yeah, I guess you could consider that an in-kind contribution. So yeah, where are we? Okay, we're back to the application. So yeah, large print publications. So that is the accessibility section. So then what do we have next? We have attach up to 5 support materials depicting recent and or current activities or programming that your group has undertaken. Now, this is like a golden opportunity for you to show the peer review panel what you do. You could do if if you have video of something, if you're presenting a ballet, you could send a video or ballet. What I ask, and I'm saying this loud and clear, we do not encourage you to send like a 30-minute video and then just say scroll to like minute 15 or something like that. Like just make it concise, like make it so so that the peer review panel really gets to see the excellence of your programming, but at the same time, they're not going to sit and watch a half hour of your thing. We generally have about 50 applications to consider. It's a lot. So they're not gonna have time to just be mindful that someone has to look at all this stuff, as excellent as it is, that they're gonna have to review all this stuff. So germaneness, is that a word? And conciseness, is that a word? I don't know, but those are things that you should strive for. So this really gives you an opportunity to do anything, to upload anything. So it could be like programs, it could be marketing materials. It really could be if you have if there's articles about your programming that were in the newspaper or in a publication or online, you can attach those things. This is like really your opportunity to really show um like what you do, that's not on the 4 pages of the four corners of the document that their application. So this is important. I really encourage you to take advantage of it, and to do it, and to you know uh you know just I really encourage you to take advantage of it. So
I
that you would
also,
attach those things.
sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I also asked
No, no,
that.
no interrupting.
I also asked that you guys be mindful of the file sizes too, because too big could cause some issues with your application,
It
technical
says on
wise.
there what the max is.
Yeah, but just don't go
Yeah,
crazy.
that's a lot. I mean, that is a lot of 1,000 megs is a
I'm
lot.
I might lower it on my end, but
Yeah, like I mean,
I just didn't want to
like on
limit
an
anyone either, but yeah.
yeah. If you're having a problem with it, let us know. It also gives you opportunity to link to a video. So if so what a good thing to do is if your organization has a YouTube or Vimeo site, you could upload the video that you wanted to share with us to that site, and then you could put the link in that link. So, and the same thing, like you'd want to edit the video so that it's like the length, optimal length for purposes of this application, but you could just post it, you could put it on your site and then send the link. So yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. Like I said, take advantage of that. And then so once you that's not it's not mandatory. You don't have to do that, but if you don't, I would say you're making a mistake. And then the last thing is the certification, and it's just really saying that everything that that you have, that you rightfully have are applying for this grant, and that everything that you contained herein is to your best of your ability accurate. And then you just yep, you can do that. You sign it, you check it, and you mark as complete. And then you submit.
Yep. I didn't do
So
accessibility, so it won't let me, but
yes,
theoretically you could submit.
so let me, yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Marissa. Don't go anywhere. So So just before we didn't really get into general operating support and technical support. So let's get into that a little bit. Marissa, can you go back and just hit like you're applying for general operating support and we can just go through it really quickly? So like I said, general operating support is for arts organizations only. And this is all in the guidelines. Like I said, I can't say it enough. Please read the guidelines. Um, so if you're an arts organization and you want to apply for general operating support, you need to contact us. But please know that if you're like, if this is the first time you're applying for a LAP grant, you're not going to be applying for general operating support. You're going to be applying for um, for um, project support, program support. So yeah, so Marissa went back and she checked that she's applying for general operating support. The maximum is $17,000. And so the questions are tailored to are not tailored to a specific project. They're tailored to because like I said, general operating support funds are for the the general operation of your organization. So it's not, you could spend it on a program, but really it's like you are a bigger organization and you have a bigger budget, and this fund, these funds are just going to help you operate your organization. So it could go to pay for a lot of different things. Um, so why is the GOS grant needed at this stage of development in your organization's growth? And then that's pretty straightforward. Then there's the narrative, and like I said, there are on page 10 of the guidelines. I'm not going to go through them. Is the parameters for the GOS narrative, and so you got that. Just you can scroll down. Yeah, so it's so then a lot of these questions are the same. Are the same as program support, but those first main questions are the two questions are different, the narrative and the purpose. But just scroll down a little bit. The documents are different. Where it's asking for schedule of your board of directors meetings. For GOS, that's something that we didn't ask for in program support. Your current long range plan, that's something we don't ask for in program support. And we're not saying you have to have like a 10-year plan, but you should, if you're at this point where you're asking for general operating support funds, it's like you're not going from day to day, you're going from year to year. So you should have, I would say you should probably you should have some kind of long-term planning going on. That's why we ask for that document. And then the other thing we ask for is a letter from a recognized professional in the same discipline as your organization, attesting professionalism and artistic quality of your group. So we would like, recommendation from a colleague or a colleague organization. So just to explain a little bit, just like the philosophy behind all this is, we get funds from the New Jersey State Council on Arts, like I said, but they have their own program, which is in essence a local arts program that the state Council on the Arts gives directly to arts organizations. And our goal really is to like kind of graduate you from us and eventually fly away like a little birdie and go to the state and apply for funds through them. The amounts are more, and it frees up money for our smaller organizations in the county. So we've had some like really successful organizations who started as LAP grantees, as program support grantees, worked their way up to be GOS grantees, and then went to the state and received funds from them. A great example is Art House Productions, which is a terrific multidisciplinary arts organization in Jersey City. and they are now a state New Jersey State Council on the Arts grantee. They graduated from us a few years ago. So yeah, all those documents, and then you would mark as complete. Let me just go briefly over technical assistance, and what technical assistance is also just for arts organizations. That's not for municipalities or non-arts organizations that offer arts programming. And what technical assistance is it's not like what it is let's say you have a board and you really need help with a fundraising strategy. The technical assistance grant, which is up to $5,000, would allow you to engage the services of a consultant to help you buttress, or to make your fundraising more effective. If you're trying to get better board members, that's another consultancy you can do. Tends to be like seems like funds are a big one. Fundraising is a big one where people like to engage the services of a consultant. But there's two types of technical assistance grants. There's consultancies, that's where you bring somebody in, and then there's workshops. There's stuff all over the place. There's nonprofit groups that service nonprofits. You can find them online, and they have all kinds of valuable workshops and seminars that you can register for, and they're generally, they cost money, and you could use the funds from this to use the technical assistance funds to pay for that. So so you would click which one it is. So if you're applying for a workshop, what's the purpose of your fund, request, your narrative? There's directions for the narrative starting on page 11 of the guidelines. They're very simple, but that's you need to answer that, and then you need to upload information about the organization, like about the seminar, like a listing about it, or a web page about it. You would want to print that out and attach it, so that we know it's like something legit. Can be very useful. It's not a lot of people, it's not a great deal. We get a few every year, but it's not a huge amount, but it could be very valuable for an arts organization. Let me just say that, and as this is in the guidelines, arts organizations can apply for GOS, and they can also apply for program support, and it's one or the other. And they can also apply for technical assistance in the same year. So you can apply for GOS and TA, or you can apply for PS and TA, but that's only for arts organizations. If you're a non-arts organization or a municipality, a public entity, you can only apply for program support. So that kind of, like, when you do those branching questions at the beginning, that's the purpose of it. It'll take you to the appropriate questions. I've been rambling for a while. Does anybody have any questions? I'd be happy to answer while we're here. Let me see. You can ask to, if you're, I think if you can unmute, you can ask as well.
Can you hear me, Joe?
I can hear you. Great.
Hi, it's Margot Hammond. Yeah. So
hey, Margot.
Hi. So I started, and thank you very much for today, by the way, and Marissa. I started Logo Group Inc. Over a year ago at your advice. And anyway, so I've been in existence, but I don't have that full board yet. Can I still apply for the program grant?
You don't, your board is like in formation?
Well, hopefully, but I've even been to some of your seminars, so I've got to. I'm on.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I know you, Margot. Are you a 501c3?
Yes.
Yeah. Why don't you, you know what, why don't we do this offline? Give me a holler in the office if you want to give me a call like late this afternoon or tomorrow, and we can
Okay,
discuss it.
thanks.
Yeah, we can discuss it. We'll figure it out.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Anybody, any other questions?
Yeah, on the budget, I have another question.
Sure.
On line D, which is the income less expenses, does that need to be 0? So that you've
I
got
mean,
income and expenses matching one another?
optimally, yes, that should be the case.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions? I really appreciate you guys doing this. I don't know, like I'm looking at I know a few of you on here, but I don't know a lot of you, and it's great to see because it's really good to see because that means you're taking it seriously. I wish more people would do it, but you're here and I'm glad. So if like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch. Like right on the first page of the guidelines is how to get in touch with us. And we're here for you. We really appreciate everything you guys do. I mean, you make Hudson County such a better place because of the work you do. Can you imagine a place without art? I really can't. And thank God that you guys are here. So we thank you. We are you are partners to us in the truest sense, and can't thank you enough for what you do. And we're here for you. And just thank you. And we look forward to working with you. So have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, everyone.